For the past few days, the internet has gone overboard on the story about the Marines at Langley, with a lot of misinformation and copycats who've embellished and added things to the story. As far as I know, there are only 2 reports which seem valid. The people who reported hearing ospreys in the area for 30 minutes, and another report which was posted on 4chan. There was a link there saying the information was confirmed by the Pentagon through an NSA source. Therefore, let's clear up a few points. Overall, there are 2,200 Marines in the entire MEU, and there would be no reason for the entire force to show up to let the CIA know the president is in charge. 1 unit of this kind would be enough. The rest of that information is bogus and ridiculous. Secondly, as stated in the previous video, I also said after we confirmed the Marines were there with our source, we're speculating as to the reason why, which is what I do sometimes in these reports. We take information, we put it together in puzzle pieces, and we come up with a conclusion as to what we think is going on here. From there, Hal Turner and some other rogue internet writers took the story and embellished it. Then after that, used my name as clickbait to try and up their audiences, posting my story word for word without any attribution, which is what you do if you're a journalist. Since we've been talking about 4chan and Q, which is what I've been talking about in the past 3 or 4 videos, I want to look at a few more of the postings which are really kind of interesting and have led to some attitude adjustments of several high-profile politicians in Washington. Apparently, according to sources close to the corruption investigation of these elected officials, they were called to a meeting while Donald Trump was away and told their illegal assets would be frozen. They also said if any of them continued with their obstruction, they would be audited retroactively. This recent development coincides with the whiplash Senator John McCain must have experienced when he reversed his stance on the tax bill, which is set to be voted on right after the Thanksgiving break. The House has already passed it. If you've noticed, other politicians like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Dianne Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, Ben Sasse, and the rest of their group, they look very haggard and defeated when giving their interviews. For the American public, this is a very good thing. For the Trump administration, it's a win. So let's look at what was posted on 4chan a couple of days ago. Q dropped a bunch of questions asking us to think about how the mainstream media is trying to portray anyone dubbed alternative media. And he gave some clues as to how the information was going to be spread. It confirmed the report that I did on Sunday when I was talking about the same exact thing. He asked, what is mainstream media, who controls them, and who really controls them? The next set was, why are non-MSM platforms cast as conspiracy and are not credible? Answering some of these questions, in my opinion, I think the mainstream media believes they're in charge of the information they choose to use. In reality, President Trump and his well-placed press conferences, leaks, and documents control the media. They play into his hand every moment of every day. They just don't realize how clever he is at the mastery of their pathetic mindset. Here's what I mean. In the next portion of the questions, a little farther down, Q says disinformation is real. Disinformation is necessary. The reason I believe it's real and necessary is because the corruption is so deep within the mainstream media itself. They're using these tactics, and in order to catch them, that's what you have to use. According to this particular report, coordinating with the CIA operatives, Operation Mockingbird has been used to continually corrupt the media. It's a delusional media against the American people. We're not talking about long ago. We're talking about daily doses of collusion between powerful people and the media, including the CIA. So it's blatant. It's no longer hidden from the public. What we need to remember is we now have a very strong president who's willing and able to squash this manipulation and collusion pushed through propagandized mind-controlling deliveries of orchestrated news. And they're political puppet masters. We don't have to tolerate this behavior anymore. Now, I have another independent source from Ben Fulford, who I do not know. And by the way, Hal, that's how you contribute articles to other people? Most importantly, he says yesterday, most importantly, Pentagon sources confirm multiple internet reports that Marines stormed the CIA headquarters this past weekend. One of the aims was to shut down Operation Mockingbird, the CIA group that turned the mass media, as well as Google, Facebook, etc., into mass mind control propaganda, say NSA sources. Now, I found that very interesting. The article is linked below, and you can read that for yourself. Now, let's look a little bit further at Q's questions and statements. It says, the stage must be set, and crumbs are easy to swallow. This goes to the drip, drip, drip of content, which I told you was going to happen in the mainstream media because the influx of information would be so massive. There's no way the liberal mind would be able to grasp it. It's the type and the content which you're going to see unfold that is going to be very, very difficult for them. This is a fight between good and evil, and this evil is going to expose. And when it is, it doesn't give up. It becomes much fiercer, much worse. But one thing we know for sure, truth always wins, and it doesn't need any defense. So currently, the stage is being set by the Trump administration for the takedown of these crooks, and who's been in power for years. The Democrats are no longer smiling. Rhinos appear to be nervous, and those who are on the side of the right and the good are grinning ear to ear. Now, according to 4chan, Hannity also has these classified documents, all of them, is working with the Trump administration to ensure the information is brought out properly to keep the peace, and also to put people behind bars who are traitors to the country and the crooks who've been complacent in those crimes. I do agree with Q. This is the Great Awakening, and as we progress through the next few months, I think we're going to see some heavy political moves which are going to bring down and defeat the evil and corruption which has taken over our country. I want to thank all the people who have contributed and